Welcome to the Awaken on Purpose podcast, where each week you'll hear inspirational stories of heart-centered leaders who have awakened to their higher purpose and taken that leap of faith to follow their heart and make an impact in the world. Get ready to be enlightened, empowered, and transformed with your host, Jennifer Spohr.
I am absolutely thrilled to welcome as a guest to the show today, SoFeya Joseph. She's the founder, CEO, and creator of a phenomenon, Imagine Life. She is a best-selling author, international speaker, certified high-performance coach, and former Olympic figure skating coach. After the 2006 Winter Olympic Games, where her student, Sasha Cohen, captured the silver medal, SoFeya turned her attention to performance psychology and why some people reach their potential while others fall far short. Her study of personal growth and development led her to fields as diverse as sports and spiritual psychology, yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, and aikido. She became obsessed with understanding how the human mind works. After graduating with a Master of Arts degree in spiritual psychology and experiencing profound personal transformation, SoFeya decided to dedicate her life to studying, implementing, and developing tools for life mastery. She is on the mission to change how people think and see the world. It is this mission and almost 30 years of experience, research, and intense daily practice that led Faye to creation of Imagine Life. Welcome. I'm sending you such a warm welcome. I'm so excited to have you and dive into this conversation. You know, Imagine Life has actually been, and it is a significant tool on my own growth journey. It essentially serves as a blueprint, as a map, for our personal growth. I'd love for you to actually give us a high-level explanation of how that works, because I have no doubt that there are others listening that are interested in learning more about that.
Yes. Okay. So Imagine Life is a tool that helps us to discover our best self. And it is, like you said, it's kind of like a map in a sense. It's really made out of imagines. Imagines are standing for I am, imagine, magnetize, and intent. And they're like little formulas made of the qualities of our high self. And the biggest question that imagines are answering is really, who am I? And it would go with this magical sentence: I live in alignment with who I am. And that is the key thing. Sometimes we misunderstand who I am is. And we identify ourselves with all these different things. And then we struggle to be that. And then we start feeling the rift inside of us, like the life is not working out. And the further away we move from that alignment we truly are, the more disharmony and yuckiness we feel within ourselves. So basically, imagines allow us to realign with who we truly are. So, and then from that space to start taking actions and create the life that we want. So most people really kind of live in one of three areas. They either live in their results, where they base everything on how they achieve things or what they have in their life, the status. That's kind of like what's outside of them. Other people may be more interested in living in how I'm doing things. They're like really dedicating themselves onto actions and to taking habits. It's very important to them. And other people start going into the place like, well, I already did everything on the results and it didn't give me any satisfaction. Now I'm going to change my actions and habits, and I already did that and that didn't give me anything. And then they start going like, well, there is something else. Well, maybe it's my mind. There is something wrong with my mind. So they start fixing their mind. And then imagines go beyond mind, because they actually connect us to our essential nature of who we are. And that whole statement of who am I, that am I or I am is not the human being, it's the spiritual being. And it's like somewhere deep inside of us that we were connected to, but kind of forgot and lost that connection.
Yes, because so many of us are conditioned by society, right, to believe that we need to seek an external solution. I think this is a fabulous tool for helping someone to learn how to go within, right? Because it does connect us with our higher self, with our soul, which is, separate from the mind. The mind is an amazing creation, but many people treat the mind as the star of the show and our intuition as and our soul as the supporting role, when really it's the other way around, right?
There you go. Yes, that's exactly right.
To put it in simple terms, yeah, that's what it is.
The magic about this is too that who I am is actually two things. It's not one. It is who, and then it is I am. And so the who is really what imagines are about.
Absolutely.
The mind is the next thing after. And so if we would imagine that this who is like a dress that we wear, and you know how if you wear pajama you act one way, but if you're wearing like a beautiful skinny sexy dress, you like walk different, you move different, everything changes, right? So that's like that quality. So when we put that on, when we put that quality of our authentic self on, all of a sudden everything starts being permeated through that quality and it starts changing everything in our world. So instead of trying to change from the outside in, that is results, that is actions, that is mind, we're going deeper in and we're going like, wait a second, even from the quality, everything starts radiating out.
Absolutely. And for anyone who, listens to my podcast or follows me, I mean, you guys know I talk about this a lot. Our reality is created from within. So tell us, usually there's a defining moment, right, that prompts someone to want to change their life path. I know that I touched on that briefly in your bio, but what was the defining moment for you that prompted you to go from all of these other amazing adventures that you've had, right? To go from being a figure skating coach to getting into everything with the mind, everything in spiritual psychology. What was your defining moment?
Well, the defining moment was actually, Olympics was definitely a defining moment, and there are actually several defining moments. And these moments are the place when you reach the point where you feel like, that's it, I can't go any further, like I'm stuck. And I still feel this drive or depression or like that frustration, like there has to be something else. But I reached like different levels for people. There are different levels. With the Olympics, this was the level where I hit the ceiling, because there are two levels. You can hit the ceiling or you can hit the floor. And so people make the change on either one, because either you like reach the ceiling and you know there is more, but there is a ceiling, you can't go further. It's just as frustrating as it is when you're reaching the floor and like, that's it, my life is in shit, I can't do anything about it. So these two, they feel like polarities, but really they're only polarities on a physical level, because one, I have everything but inside I'm empty, and the other one is like I have nothing, and there is still that emptiness.
I can imagine so many people relate to that. And that's exactly how I felt too. I felt it's like I had checked all these boxes off the list and the fog started to lift. It was like, whoa, I've done all these things and now I still feel empty and unfulfilled, and that's when I started, I guess, unlearning, a lot of what I was conditioned to believe for so long. That's amazing. So every experience in our lives serves a purpose and shapes who we become. What experience do you feel has been most significant in your life in shaping who you've become?
Well, well, definitely Olympics was one of those experiences because Olympics is what moved me from the realm of doing into the realm of the mind. And then after I started going into the realm of mind and moving closer to like spiritual realm, then I was still not really going into the I am. And so the significant moment was when I felt like, I was doing everything. I was doing my spiritual work. I was doing what I love doing. I was coaching. I was writing a book. I was speaking. And yet now that I went in for my mind and spirit, I completely lost everything on the outside and the outside world. So there was like, oh, I was like, now what do I do? And that day, I was like, well, how am I going to turn my life around? And that day, I was like literally sitting on the floor and in my meditation and also reading the book, The Power of Intention by Wendy. And I read this quote and it said, you receive what you desire for others. And I was like, what? What does that mean? You receive what you desire for others. I need abundance right now because I'm gonna be out of because I'm gonna lose everything. So I'm sitting and I'm like, okay, I understand the principle that our outer reality is a reflection of our inner reality. That means the outer reality where I don't have anything is the mirror of me. And if I desire something for others, which is the reflection of me in the mirror, then I'm the one looking in the mirror going to receive that, right? So that's how the first time Imagined was born, that I thought, I'm in limited abundance I want. And I wrote that on a piece of paper and I put my water bottle on it. And I thought, because I knew about the water, I knew about the water changing its structure when you infuse it with positive thoughts. And I was walking around the house, drinking this water. And all of a sudden, I'm like, dang, this is going to be really cool coasters. And that's just I'm gonna have a business. Like, I'm gonna change this business.
That's awesome. And what you said is so key about I am the abundance, right? Because we have to embody the qualities, embody what it is that we want to be. We have to step into that place and then we become it. It's so important. And I just want to put emphasis on that for a second because so many people are out there in this insane cycle of using the same approach, the same thoughts to try to get different results. But they have to step into the feeling. They have to step into the being, into the embodying of that they want. And then they become it. It's so important.
Well, yes. And this is where that shift has to happen. And the challenge with this is too that we don't really know what it is that we want. And this is what I imagine is help with because there are 50 different qualities. And when you see them, you choose them, which ones that you want right now. And it's the way that the inner soul is communicating what we need at this moment. And if we really truly go for stepping into these qualities and embodying them, and it's not easy because we're still connected to, I want these results, that it's counterintuitive to be like, well, I need to be this quality.
Yes.
And the result will happen.
Yes, we're attached to an outcome, but that outcome and our perceptions are based upon those outdated beliefs and ways of being. We have to have the willingness to let go of that attachment and have the willingness to trust that there's a way forward, even though we don't see it.
But Imagines help you to do exactly that.
Yeah.
And that help. They're also very hard to know what is your lesson, like what is it that you actually need to embody and step into. But having your blueprint, you know what I imagined you on, and you know like whatever lesson comes in, it relates to my imagined. I have to pay attention to that. And I have to say we have emotions, so we have several things. We have emotions and we have the results in our life. And we misunderstand both. We misunderstand what they mean. When we go for the results and we think that our life is about those results, the results are just the mirror to show us where we are. Because that's the only way for the spirit to show us where we are in our journey. And the emotions is actually a gate that allows us, that directs us where to go. So that feeling that we have, that unfulfillment or the frustration, the anger, the sadness, whatever that is, it's a gold mine. It's not something like, oh, I need to take whatever, some tranquilizer so I don't feel anything, or some drink something, or just immerse myself in work or sex or whatever, so that so I don't feel anything. The emotion is the gate that is actually just telling us, hey, here's an opportunity for you to get in, to go to the next level. And I imagine it's like a key to that gate. And you're like, boom, you just walk in and immediately you're on the next level and everything just shifts and changes. It's magical.
It's that, and then the person's willingness, right, to learn, to see a different way, because we can have all of the coaches, mentors, tools in the world at our disposal. But if we don't have the willingness, right, to learn, to take that in and to take the action, then, it doesn't happen.
Right.
So there are a lot of people out there in a place where they could be feeling stuck, feeling called to do more, to do something to make a bigger impact. Maybe they're feeling a fear around moving forward, or they can't see the way. What would be the number one piece of advice that you would have for someone who is in that space?
Who is in the space of fear?
Of feeling called to do more, right? Like, what advice could you give them that would be actionable for them to move forward?
Okay, it was a great question. So what would my advice be for someone? First of all, obviously, if you feel being called to do more, it doesn't come from the ego for sure. And to follow that call, 100%, examine it. But it's the challenge, of course. The challenge is to know where to go. But at the same time, here is you and me. We did it, and we had the feel for more, and we just did it. We just we just went there.
Right. That's really what it comes down to, right? We have to be willing. And it seems like, this keeps coming up in the conversation too, having that willingness to take a leap of faith, having that willingness to listen to our soul's guidance that is guiding us to make a change. And you'll never know the whole path ahead before you take an action. It's when we take that action forward that other steps start to fall into place, right? So what you said about just following it and just doing it, like, that's really it.
I don't know, like this coming forward for me is I'm working right now on creating the mystery school of creation. And now, when I'm talking about mystery, it's not magic. Mystery is actually those hidden parts of us that we develop and we create out in the universe, right? Anyway, so I do a lot of diagrams when there is a mind well, and the mind well, the way it operates, if there is an event coming in, and then we have thoughts, and then we have our emotions, and then we take actions based on those emotions, and then we have another event to confirm. And so people live in this mind well constantly, because when we have emotions, then there is that desire to take an action. Let's say if you're angry about something and you take an action and responding to that anger, I mean, obviously there is going to be a consequence to that, and then there is going to be another event. And so it just keeps going. And so what happens, people go around and around and around, and nothing really changes. when I created that diagram, that mind was like gray. And then one day I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait, there is a gate in there. If you get out of that gate, then this happens. And all of a sudden, this gray diagram grew in colors in front of me. It became this colorful thing. And I was like, holy cow, because I didn't expect that at all. It just happened. And it's exactly what happens. Like my clients would say, look, like my life sucks, it's boring. I feel there is more, but that everything is kind of gray, nothing is moving, right? Especially as we get older and we already tried everything. That's when it's like, well, I've tried everything, nothing makes me happy. And so she did imagines, and somewhere like we meet again, like several weeks later, and she's like saying, SoFeya, I don't understand what happened. I'm like, what? She's like, well, I live in the same house. I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm in the same relationship. I have the same job. Like nothing changed. But my life is freaking so exciting. I love my life. Everything is just like in the sky. And that's like exactly what happens when we start going in and things start changing from the inside. They become colorful. And then we start understanding that those things that were holding us back from taking action, that fear, it's like, I mean, you can stay in that gray area, or you can like come out, like peek out and have like a little bit different color.
That's the price of admission to being fulfilled and joyful in our lives, is stepping outside that comfort zone. I think of gray as being comfortably unhappy. That's what I call it. So many people live a mediocre existence, not because they want to, but because they believe that that's what they might have to settle for. And really the key is, and as you keep saying, right, is just that willingness to unlock what is within, to start with even just making space for yourself each day, to contemplate, to listen to your soul's guidance. It's so important.
You asked me one thing I want to say about my advice. I didn't give a good advice, but now I'm gonna give a good advice. Okay, and so we'll talk like taking it back a little bit into abundance, for example, or the willingness. We can take willingness, or we can take success. So whoever listens to this, choose this word. Choose either abundance, success, or willingness, or courage. So I'm giving you 4 choices here: success, willingness, courage, abundance. Choose one. Now I want you to say this time: I live in alignment with who I am. And I know that you will agree. Do you agree that you live in alignment with who you are, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I want you to say this: I live in alignment with who I am. And now take the who I am out and instead put unlimited abundance in. And now you say, I live in alignment with unlimited abundance I am.
Right, because you're now embodying that.
Correct. And now you sit with that phrase, or I live in alignment with willingness I am, or I live in alignment with willingness I quest for. So see it at a higher level. And now you start thinking like, do I live in alignment with that? So what we need to change for me to live in alignment with that? You can choose whatever quality you want and put that in, and then see how you can take a different action from that space.
That is excellent advice. Thank you so much. How can someone find you? Because I'm sure there are people out there that want to learn more about you and what you do. What would be the best place for them to go to?
Well, the best place to go to is, it's my website. But I actually have a VIP group that you go to www.imaginedlife.com/VIP. They will get to watch the video of how to step into being success they want. And they will actually receive an Imagine that they can use with their water. And there is a whole video of how to step in and be the success they want. So it's free. It's my gift to everyone who listens. And it's really fun. And they can truly experience this alignment and how to step into it and start living from that space. Because the truth is, like, when we think about who I am, we think about, okay, so this is my name and I know who I am like this way. But we're not consciously actually growing the seeds qualities within us. Those seeds are all within us. So it's not like we don't have those. We all have them. It's just some of them we grew and some of them we didn't. And the ones that we didn't grow, well, they're not giving any fruit. And we're not happy about that.
I just adore you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really loved having you on.
Thank you, Jennifer. It was wonderful to share this. I hope it was clear. People can understand what we're doing. And what you're doing is so amazing, helping people to change. And I really, really appreciate the work that you do for the world.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you too. That means so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Awake and On Purpose podcast. Please visit us and subscribe to the podcast at awakeandonpurpose.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about how you can connect with your higher purpose and take that leap of faith to make your impact in the world, visit us at jenniferspor.com. And while you're there, be sure to join our email list for exclusive offers and a weekly dose of inspiration.